Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a program that talks about breeding of terrorism and its impact on South Asian nations. Let's begin with the headlines first. Major terror strike in Jammu and Kashmir averted with the arrest of Lashkar-e-Mustafa commander. India and Afghanistan raise concerns over Pak-backed terrorism in South Asian region. And India asked UN Security Council to delve into activities of Pakistan-based terror outfits. Let's begin the show with India's Jammu and Kashmir, where Pakistan-based terror outfits continue to pose serious security threats. In a major breakthrough, the security forces have arrested a dreaded terrorist commander who was planning to carry out a terror strike in the Union Territory.
Jammu and Kashmir police recently foiled a major terror strike with the arrest of most wanted terrorist Hidayatullah Malik, a self-styled commander of Lashkar-e-Mustafa, a frontal organization of Jaish-e-Muhammad. Incriminating materials, arms and ammunition, including 2 pistols and grenades, were recovered from his possession. During the operation, Malik attacked security forces and tried to escape from the spot, but the team apprehended him. Hidayatullah, who hails from Shopian area of Kashmir Valley, is one of 10 accused in a case pertaining to the detection of a powerful car bomb in Pulwama in May 2020, which was later destroyed on the spot to avert a major mishap. 4 of his associates who were arrested earlier from Anantnag have revealed that Hidayatullah was planning a major attack in Jammu.
स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे हमने लश्कर-ए-मुस्तफ़ा के अपने आप को चीफ कहने वाले टेररिस्ट को, जिसका नाम है हिदायतुल्लाह मलिक, उसको हमने अरेस्ट किया है। एक गाड़ी में उसके चलने की खबर थी, उस गाड़ी को ट्रेस करते हुए उस गाड़ी के अंदर से हमने उसको अरेस्ट किया है। उसके पास से आर्म्स एम्यूनिशन रिकवर हुआ है और भी हमें कई सारी जगह पे उसमें छापेमारी करनी है, बाकी चीज़ें काफ़ी सारी रिकवर करनी है। बहुत सारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन अभी इसमें चलने वाली है।
Lashkar-e-Mustafa is a new terror outfit that appeared in South Kashmir, Shopian and Pulwama last year. An offshoot of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Muhammad, this outfit shares the same ideology and is involved in recruiting local Kashmiri youth for waging a jihad and creating instability in the region. Hidayatullah used to lead the group that he referred to as Hasnan Army, based on his own code name Hasnan, and was involved in recruiting local youth into his ranks. This is not the only newly created terror outfit backed by Pakistani Army and ISI, which aims to disturb peace and harmony in the Union Territory. Recently, Jammu and Kashmir police had foiled a terror plot to attack temples in the border district of Poonch, and the terrorists arrested were affiliated to Jammu and Kashmir Ghaznavi Force, which is also a newly formed terror organization by Pakistan that seeks to trigger communal tensions in the region.
देखिए, जम्मू हमेशा पाकिस्तान की जो मिलिटेंट आउटफिट है, जो आईएसआई है और एजेंसीज उनकी जो मिलिटेंसी को चलाती हैं, उनके निशाने पर रहता है। जहां पर रिलीजियस प्लेसेस को बार बार निशाना बनाया गया। अभी भी 1-2 वाक़े ऐसे हुए जहां मंदिर के ऊपर कोई ना कोई कार्रवाई करने के लिए ग्रेनेड फेंका गया, जहां पर जौहरी के एरिया में इस तरह की और भी कुछ एक इनपुट्स मिलते हैं, जिसको लेकर के पुलिस अपनी कार्रवाई बराबर जारी रखे हुए हैं।
Jammu region remains on the terror radar of Pakistan, and to create mayhem, it has tasked its Kashmir-based terror groups, which directly acts under the command of Kashmir Cell of Pakistan's spy agency. Recently, Pakistan's plot to activate terror modules in Poonch and Rajouri was exposed by the intelligence agencies. Moreover, the terrorists are making every possible effort to use Jammu and Kashmir for smuggling of arms. Pakistan is trying to sneak weapons using unmanned aerial vehicles that could be used to target security personnel and the civilians too.
Jammu has been peaceful, and Jammu has always been peaceful because the people in Jammu, whether they are Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus or Jains or anyone else, they are all living together, and people of Jammu have welcomed with open arms all those who were affected by militancy in Kashmir Valley over here to settle down. This is not liked by Pakistan because Pakistan wants that this entire area of Jammu and Kashmir, now especially after becoming a union territory, after Article 370 and 35A have been abrogated since August 2019, that this area should also be in turmoil. And this is what they are trying.
In 2020, 42% more terrorists were killed in Jammu and Kashmir over the previous year. Wanted terrorists like Hizbul commander Riaz Naiku, Lashkar commander Haider, Jaish commander Qari Yasir and Ansar Ghazwatul Hind's Burhan Koka were killed by the security forces. Since after the abrogation of Article 370 in August 2019, distressed terrorist groups are now targeting the Jammu region, but the security forces are committed to tackle the situation to make Jammu and Kashmir as safe and prosperous.
The Pakistan-Afghanistan sub-region in South Asia is a hotbed of regional and global terrorism. South Asian nations, particularly the major ones, India and Afghanistan, have fallen victim to Pakistan-backed terrorism. It has also deeply affected international security. However, India and Afghanistan remain committed to peace, prosperity and stability in the region by combating the Pak-backed terror infrastructure.
Pakistan Army and its inter-services intelligence constantly provide direct military and intelligence aid to terrorist groups like Taliban, Al-Qaeda and ISIS for destabilizing the Afghan region and other South Asian countries. Several reports and evidences have time and again reasserted Pakistan's role in creating unrest in Afghanistan. For instance, Pakistani ID cards and documents were recovered from several Taliban militants killed in a NATO airstrike last year in Afghanistan's Kandahar province. Moreover, United Nations report released in June 2020 highlighted that various Pakistan-based terrorist organizations, especially Lashkar-e-Taiba, plays a key role in providing recruits and funding to the Taliban and other terrorist groups operating in Afghanistan. Besides, Islamabad has been disrupting the peace process in Afghanistan by helping these terrorists as the war-torn nation is witnessing a constant rise in violent attacks. In a virtual bilateral summit with Indian Prime Minister, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani expressed concerns over the constant bloodshed and said if the current opportunity for peace in Afghanistan turns out to be lost and Afghanistan plunges towards an uncertain future, the consequences of such a scenario will cause severe harm to regional and global peace and stability.
The pearl, Mr. Prime Minister, lies in misunderstanding this moment. Peace in Afghanistan is within grasp if parties and their backers in the Taliban embrace a true political solution. But Afghans will not submit to surrender. And it must be understood that our heroic security forces are not defeated, and neither have we lost our will or capacity for serving our people.
Pakistan's economy is in the doldrums, plunging to new lows every day, with inflation at an all-time high. Yet, instead of looking after its own citizens, Pakistan is trying tooth and nail to destabilize its neighbors by engaging in proxy wars. Be it terror attacks or cross-border firing, Pakistan's evil designs against India, especially Jammu and Kashmir, have claimed thousands of lives, including civilians and security forces, since decades. When Pakistan's efforts to weaken India through its devious conspiracies have failed completely, it is trying to hamstring Indian missions in Afghanistan. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed concerns over the rising violence in Afghanistan and agreed that it is essential to create a terror-free region.
अफगानिस्तान में बढ़ रही हिंसा से हम चिंतित हैं। निर्दोष नागरिकों, पत्रकारों और कार्यकर्ताओं को कायरतापूर्ण ढंग से निशाना बनाया जा रहा है। हमने हिंसा को तत्काल समाप्त करने का आह्वान किया है और हम फौरन एक व्यापक संघर्ष विराम का समर्थन करते हैं। हिंसा शांति का प्रतिकार है और दोनों साथ साथ नहीं चल सकते। एक निकट पड़ोसी और मजबूत स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर के रूप में भारत और अफगानिस्तान दोनों ही अपने क्षेत्र को आतंकवाद और उग्रवाद से और ऐसे भयंकर संकट से मुक्त देखना चाहते हैं।
India has always stood by the Afghan government and supported an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned and Afghan-controlled peace process. Both nations can together play an important role in fighting the scourge of terrorism.
When it comes to tackling terrorism in South Asia, especially Pakistan-backed terrorism in South Asia, there is what India and Afghanistan can do together is fairly limited, and it is basically restricted to the sharing of intelligence, better coordination of intelligence, so that with minimum effort we are able to act on that intelligence and crack down on these terrorists with minimal damage to ourselves. So this is maximum effectiveness with minimum damage to ourselves. I think apart from that, we should be very, very careful. If we are to basically collaborate militarily, that is carry out joint operations, it gives Pakistan an excuse and an opportunity to do far too many things in South Asia than they are currently doing. So I think if we are able to share intelligence, if we are able to station each other's intelligence officers in each other's territories so that this coordination is better, I believe a lot can be done.
Preventing India from gaining significant footholds in Afghanistan has always been Pakistan's top priority. It assumes that India's deep presence in Afghanistan can hamper its devious nexus with the terrorist. To gain a strategic depth in this war-torn country with porous borders has been Islamabad's another agenda. For that, it regularly hires, nurtures and finances the terrorists and mercenaries. However, to its disappointment, none of its agendas have borne fruit owing to competent security forces of India.
A victim of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, India at various global platforms has always shown concern about the problems of evaluating counter-terrorism, particularly in South Asia. Recently, in the UN Security Council, India stated that the exclusion of Pakistan-based terror outfits from the UN Chief's report on the threat posed by Islamic State does not give a complete overview of the terror threat the world has been facing.
In a flashback, on the night of November 26, 2008, 10 Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba outfit launched coordinated shooting and bombing attacks at various locations in Mumbai city. The deadly attack killed 166 and injured over 300 people. On 14 February 2019, Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists killed at least 40 CRPF personnel in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district. The list of terrorist incidents in India is long, but the reason is only one: Pakistan, a country that continues to sponsor terror outfits that launch deadly attacks against civilians and security personnel in the subcontinent. As a victim nation which has experienced all forms of terrorist attacks, India has time and again warned the world about threats emerging from Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. In a recent briefing at UN Security Council on the threats to international peace and security caused by terrorist acts, India's permanent representative at United Nations asserted that the UN Chief's report on the Islamic State should also cover activities of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed that perpetrate attacks from safe havens in Pakistan.
In our view, the UNSG's report on ISIL should also cover activities of prescribed terrorist entities under ISIL and Al-Qaeda sanctions regime, like Lashkar-e-Taiba and other Pakistani-based terrorist groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and frontal organizations that raise funds for their activities. The world is fully aware that these groups also perpetrate terror activities from safe havens in Pakistan, including through violent attacks in Afghanistan that have disrupted the peace process.
Pakistan has mainstreamed terrorism as statecraft, and its land is being used for carrying out subversive activities against all its neighbors. For decades, Afghanistan has been witnessing blasts and Fidayeen attacks, and on many occasions, Pakistan's role behind such terrorist incidents have been revealed. Tirumurthy also highlighted close links of the newly appointed leader of ISIL with the proscribed Haqqani network, which is backed by Pakistani authorities.
The UN Secretary General's report also provides an account of activities of ISIL-K, including the appointment of its new leader, Shahab al-Mujahid. He has close links with the proscribed Haqqani network and earlier operated in the Afpak region as an Al-Qaeda commander. It is essential that we don't lose sight of the ease with which the proscribed Haqqani network and its supporters, especially with support from the Pakistani authorities, have worked along with prominent terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda, ISIL-K, etc. in South Asia.
New Delhi also raised voice against Islamabad, which makes distinction between good and bad terrorists. At different platforms, India has tried to provide ideas and action plan to counter terrorism. Once again reiterating India's stand against terror, Tirumurthy told in the briefing that for the UN system to effectively address the threats posed by terrorists, the Council should seriously reconsider implementing the 8-point action plan outlined by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. The Indian diplomat said that India acknowledged the direct utility of the Global Countering Terrorist Travel Program and the Global Program on Countering the Financing of Terrorism to prevent and detect travel of foreign terrorists and funding of terrorist entities, respectively.
Terrorism remains to be a very, very large issue. We are gaining support from the entire world, may it be US, may it be the European nations, may it be Australia, or may it be Japan, or even Russia. And more so ever, besides getting support from all the countries in the world, we are proving to take very strong steps against terrorism. And that is why at the UNSC, to make our position strong, to ensure that India gets a permanent seat in the UNSC, as we have time and again given our bid for the UNSC seat, it has been proven that India is standing very strong and tall.
India, which has been at the forefront of the years-long efforts to reform the UNSC, began its 2-year tenure at the Council this year. India will boost its collective efforts to fight against terrorism, as it will chair the Counter-Terrorism Committee in 2022, which coincides with the 75th anniversary of India's independence. Chairing this committee at this juncture will help keep the focus on the presence of terrorists and their sponsors threatening the peace in the South Asian region. It has a special resonance for India, which has been in the forefront of fighting terrorism, and chairing this committee is a ringing endorsement of the country's leadership in fight against terrorism.
Be it Kashmir or Punjab, Islamabad has been misusing all its state machineries to push in terrorist and provoke anti-India sentiments in the form of Khalistan to disrupt peace and harmony in India. This modus operandi was once again exposed with the arrest of 2 accomplices of Khalistani terrorists in India's Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh states.
Pakistan's inter-services intelligence has been tactfully using Khalistani terrorists for unleashing violence in India. Recently, Indian security forces arrested Sarabjit Kirat, an accomplice of Khalistan Zindabad force from Nanded district of Maharashtra. In a further development, another accomplice of Khalistani terrorist was apprehended in India's Lucknow city. The accused has been identified as Jagdev Singh alias Jagga, who was linked to pro-Khalistan terrorist Paramjit Singh Pamma and Maltani Singh. Paramjit is currently in UK while Maltani is in Germany. Both of them are accused of carrying out anti-national activities in Punjab and supplying weapons to promote terror and harm peace and religious tolerance of India.
The arrest of two pro-Khalistani terrorists from Maharashtra and UP who were receiving funds and directions from militant organizations in UK clearly indicate that militant organizations the world over are live and kicking and want to inflict huge damage to India should India give them an opportunity to do so. As of today, our vigil is very strong. There is stability in Punjab and revival of Sikh militancy is chances are almost zero. However, if there is potentially any instability in Punjab or elsewhere in the country, they could be exploited by Pakistan and anti-Indian organizations based in UK, America, Canada, Germany, Italy, Australia, New Zealand and elsewhere.
The support for Khalistan in India has sunk very low, but the militant groups like the Sikhs for Justice have been pushing their agenda hard through various platforms with the help of the Pakistan's ISI. The pro-Khalistan agenda for a separate homeland has no takers in Punjab, but the cause still survives in Pakistan, where jihadist groups have made common cause with Sikh separatists against their shared enemy, India. While several Pakistan ISI chiefs in the past have been vocal supporters of the Khalistan movement, the Pakistani deep state seems to have now embarked on the K2, Kashmir to Khalistan strategy with newfound hate. A part of this hatred stems from the fact that diplomatically Pakistan has failed to gather any global momentum against India. The controversial tweet by Pakistan's blundering minister Fawad Chaudhry last year in support of Punjabi farmers is also being seen from the perspective of intensifying the secessionist movement in India.
The movement is alive and the danger and the threat is there. However, at the same time, it must be said, the Indian intelligence is on top of the situation, which also means that we arrested these people before they could carry out any damage. So concerns remain. How they are to be addressed, I think, is already being done by the Indian security forces, by the political establishment and by the intelligence agencies. But it is going to be a long drawn-out battle, and I feel the battle lines are drawn, and we will see as to how it goes from here.
Indian security agencies have in last several months seen increased activity along the international border in Punjab, with the delivery of drugs and ammunition both increasing, and the use of drones to make such deliveries possible across the border. Agencies have also found that the most prominent Khalistan websites of Sikh for Justice are being hosted from a server based in Pakistan's Karachi city. Khalistani sympathizers based in India are assisting them in amplifying their disinformation campaigns, but because of a strong crackdown on Khalistani forces by Indian agencies and police, Pakistan's fantasy to revive the Khalistan movement is not happening.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views, and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@nin.com. This is Shreya Savijay signing off on the behalf of entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.